Hello, good morning. Here I am. We are live. And somebody is trying to call me. And I will say, sorry, I can't talk right now. So yesterday, we in the morning got the CI/CD pipeline set up, and we got the AstroJS website scaffolded with just the basics. And then in the afternoon, we started working through that tutorial that I linked in the chat. And we got up to the place where we are going to start styling one of the pages on the website. And hopefully soon we'll get to a place where we're starting to modularize things like the navigation and getting those styles to apply across the entire site and so on and so forth. We discussed a little bit about encapsulating areas of change and areas of sharing, and I'm sure we'll talk about that again. That's the encapsulating areas of change and share is the bulk of what I do as a software architect in my day-to-day job, and teaching people the importance of and techniques for encapsulating those areas of change. And we're going to talk about that a lot over the next years that I'm doing this. But rather than have me yammer on, I am going to switch our view so that you guys don't have to look at my ugly face. And we're going to switch over to the code view. There's my ugly face down on the lower left. We're going to leave it there, just, in case you need to frighten away some vermin that live in your house. My voice is still somehow low. Is this my problem? I'm going to say it's probably me, Quesos. Just because I am new to this whole streaming thing, and I probably should get a dedicated microphone for this kind of stuff. I am still just using my AirPods, I think. Let's see. Let's make sure. Properties, it doesn't tell me. Adjust mic aux volume. Let's see what this does. Let's turn it up a little more. We'll go all the way up. And I think that's about as good as it's going to get. All right. Excuse me. So, what's my terminal window saying here? I'm going to send that away. Goodbye. And yes, I'm on a Mac. I prefer Apple equipment for my personal usage. And then when I'm working professionally for a company, I will absolutely use a Windows machine because I vastly prefer Visual Studio Professional or Enterprise or Architect to VS Code. That's personal preference. I know a lot of people love Code, and that's VS Code is what I'm using for this because it's what I have access to. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click here. We're going to open a new terminal at my folder. We're going to launch VS Code. And then we're going to hop back to my terminal. And we're going to go npm run dev. Get the web server running. And I'm going to grab this URL. Copy. Get my Safari window. Bring it over here. Here's the tutorial that we'll be working from. Open a new tab, paste, and go. Here we go. All right, this is a local representation of what my website actually currently looks like at www.thatdeveloperdad.com. It's ugly. I'm sure a lot of people out there in the world are thinking, what the heck is this guy doing pushing up a website that looks so plain and ugly and is obviously unfinished. And my answer to that, actually, Kessos and I were chatting on LinkedIn just before I went live this morning, and he helped me come to a serious realization that the content that I want to be producing and sharing with you all, yes, it's going to be about C Sharp and architecture and .NET and project design and development processes and all of that stuff. That's what the articles are going to be about. That's what some of my future videos are going to be talking about, and so on. But I also realized that while he and I were talking, and I got to say thank you to Cassos again, um, the real content here is my process, and that I am learning this new front end stack, this AstroJS, live in front of everybody. And even somebody like myself with 20 plus years of development experience, we still learn. We're all always learning. And we're all ideally figuring these things out together. So let's get at it. Yesterday, we added to the structure of our website. We'll just do a quick review. We set up the AstroJS scaffolding. It created a index.astro file for us that we did some modifications on, following the instructions in that tutorial that I linked. And then we added the about page. It's currently empty. We added a articles index and a couple of posts. Just for laughs, let's go ahead and navigate through. So here's our home page. Here's our about, and I have some ideas about some things I want to put on this about page. And for articles, I've got a dummy post 1, and we got to go back because there's no navigation on there. And we've got a dummy post 2, and we have to hit the back button. I looked ahead in the tutorial. We're going to be fixing that at some point in the next day or two. So let's go back to the home page. There's that. Good stuff. I did make a link to my Twitch channel so that people that do stumble on this monstrosity can find my Twitch channel, and eventually I'll be adding other social media stuff as I get those ready to be shared. But let's focus on the about page. Before we dive into the tutorial content, I do want to flesh this out a little bit, just a little bit. So we'll come over to about, and we've got the page title, about, and we see that we're using string interpolation to form using this page variable, this page level variable, I should say. We're using string interpolation to form the title, and that's what shows up here in the tab title, and then the page title is also used for the main header. Just to show how that works, about me, we'll edit it, and there we go. So we do have hot reloads through AstroJS. That's a wonderful thing. I love it. And let's go ahead and add some content here. We're going to leave some white space for now. P. My name's Rob. And you know what? Codium is what I'm using as a code completion plugin because it's free and it does approximately as well as GitHub Copilot. And I want to see about maybe temporarily disabling it. Here we go. I'm just going to disable it for now because it's trying to be more helpful than I need it to be right now. Oh, it's not Codium, it's the IntelliSense. Ah! All right, I'll turn Codium back on. I'm sorry. And yes, I'm from Canada. There's some other tech creators that I've started following that are also from Canada, and I can really hear it in their voices now and then, but I don't pick on them too much. My name's Rob. I've been a .NET developer and architect for over 2 decades. I'll use 2 decades because it makes me sound old, and I'm old. In over those years, I've made lots and lots of mistakes. And luckily, I've been able to take some lessons from those missteps. My goal with that developer dad is to share the lessons I've learned in hopes that you can also learn from my mistakes without having to make them yourself. H2. My tech stack and setup. I definitely want to call out the technology that I'm using, the equipment that I have, because a lot of people think, oh, I want to get into programming, but my computer's not good enough, and I don't know how to get into it, and everything's so expensive, and oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. So let's call out what I'm doing this on. Hardware. MacBook Air M2 with 8 GB RAM. Yes, I've actually run instance of Phi 3 Mini on this thing and had it work. A couple of weeks ago during MS Build, I downloaded Phi 3 Mini and a host program called Jan AI to actually host the small language model, and I was actually able to chat with it running locally on my laptop. I was really, really impressed until about 3 or 4 conversation turns in, and it went a little crazy and started hallucinating a lot. P. Software. VS Code with the C# DevKit extension. Website framework. AstroJS. Let's go ahead and grab the URL to AstroJS so that I can pop it in here. Come up here. Whoops. I want to copy the link. Here we go. And href equals, pop that in there. target equals underscore blank, because I don't want people to navigate away from my site. JS. Code completion extension. And let's go grab the website for Codium. Here we go. A href equals target equals blank. Did I spell that right? I did. Codium. Free equivalent to GitHub Copilot. I think that's all the relevant stuff that, oh, you know what? P website hosting Azure static website. I'm using the free tier and the free tier of Azure static websites allows me to connect a custom domain name to it. I really wish the IntelliSense were a bit more intelligent as far as context, or at least would turn itself off when I'm working not in C# or .NET. I'm sure that's a setting that I can go tweak, but I haven't found it. Yes, Astro is a static site generator, which is why I'm using Astro, because I can't use an Azure App Service. The free tier does not allow you to connect a custom domain name to it. When I get into more C# and systems programming, I'll likely leverage Azure App Services just for the temporary purpose of demonstrating how to get the CI/CD pipelines and hosting and running, and then we'll tear everything down afterwards so that Microsoft doesn't drain my credit card after a day or two, because I can't afford that. Import type is transition before preparation event from astrotransitions.client. What even is that? I don't know what that means or where it came from. Huh. Wonder what it does. I know I didn't type it. All right, here we go. And we've got our links to the various things. I should add a link to Visual Studio Code's website. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go fetch that URL. Apple T, VS Code, not VIS Code. Here we go. Just pop over here, grab this, copy. I'll give all these people some free advertising. Why not? And a href equals paste target equals underscore blank VS Code. All right, let's save that. And we've coded a little. It's time to test a little. I want to make sure that these links pop out in a new tab. One new tab. Two new tabs. Three new tabs. All right, great. H1 page title. All right. Let's dig into the tutorial. Styling your about page. We're going to style items on a single page. At least we're not working in the style attribute. We're going to use CSS variables. Styling an individual page. Astro has its own style tags. It says style things on your page. Adding attributes and directives to these tags gives you even more ways to style. Let's go ahead and do what it says. We'll copy these lines. I'm not a big fan of copy pasta, but why not? Okay, so into the copy paste buffer that goes. And because I'm an old man and have short-term memory like a sieve, okay, it goes just below the title. Paste. And save. And let's see what that did to my site. Oh, that's hideous. The instructions say to visit the other pages in the site. All right. So we see that it only affected the About Me page, and that's because we applied this style at the page level scope. And that makes sense. And we'll come down here, back to the tutorial. Check all three pages. The page with the biggest title text is my About Me. Excuse me. Add the class name skill. I didn't add a list of skills or anything like that. So we're not going to do that. But let's okay. Let's change the tech stack and setup from just a list of paragraphs to an unordered list. Grab this, paste that in there. What I want to do, I wonder if it'll let me. Nope. Okay, that keyboard shortcut is definitely different in VS Code and on a Mac than it is from Visual Studio on Windows. And now we got to come out here and change these to close out these list items. I'm not following the tutorial exactly, so that's why I have to do these changes. manually. Let's make sure that, okay, good. We updated, groovy. Style your about page. Skills map skill. Okay, so that's a list of things. Class equals skill. All right, see, I should have done these things as arrays. I'm not going to mess with that. Class equals, let's call it a stack item. And I'll grab this stuff and the leading space. Here we go. Save. And let's go back to our tutorial text. So because I've skipped over this part, I want to explain what it's doing. This skills.map, and then we've got a Lambda function in here. Skills is in the example code. I believe they have it up in the... Okay, they didn't list the front matter here. There's a JavaScript array, a variable called skills in the front matter of the examples about.astro. And it's just a JavaScript array of strings. And what this part is doing is mapping that JavaScript array so that for each item in the skill array, it's assigning that item to a locally scoped variable called skill and passing it into this interpolation function that creates a list item containing the value of that array element in skill. This is basically just a JavaScript version of the C#.NET link iCollection.forEach link function for those of you who prefer to only speak C# and .NET, myself included. So I skipped over this mapping stuff over the array because I want to use my own personal data as opposed to contrived examples. It's fine. So let's go ahead and style this class. So skill, color green, font weight, bold. Oh, this is going to get ugly. This is going to get this is going to get even uglier. Copy. Paste. Ayo. I can't stand it when my formatting and spacing gets blown up. It makes my heart hurt. There we go. Let's save that and see what this has done to the visuals of this about page. Nothing, because I probably screwed something up. Oh! Because it's not called, the class isn't called skill, I called it stack item. Save. Ugh. Oh, that's gross. That's really, really ugly. I don't mind the bold, but the green and the purple is just jarring to my poor eyeballs. And using your first CSS variable. Now, last time I used CSS variables, I was messing around with less, which was one of those CSS mix-in type technologies. I don't think less is even used anymore. I believe it's all been taken over by SCSS or SAS or something. Okay, the Astro style tag can also reference any variables from our front matter script using the define vars equals blah 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 directive. You can define variables within your code fence and use them as CSS variables in your style tag. Okay, so let's do what it says. Const skill color equals navy. All right. So we'll pop up here. Const stack item color equals navy. Grab that. And then down in our styles, we'll interpolate that in using that variable directive that it referenced up here. So var dash dash variable name. So come down here. Oh, go away. Go away. Var dash dash parens stack item color. Save it. And let's see what it did. Well, it just turned them very, very dark black, so I have a feeling that I did something wrong, because when it can't interpret a value or something like that, it defaults to the page standard. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab this variable name up here and paste it in here. Make sure our variable names are matched and I didn't fat finger something. You know what? I want to make it much more visible because navy against black doesn't really have a lot of contrast and it's sometimes hard to pick out. So let's go to red. We're just local. We don't care if it's ugly and it's still not working. So that means I goofed something up. And that's okay. Ah. Aha. So it's var parens dash dash variable name. Save that. And we're about 50-50 chance that that's going to work. It did not. Define vars directive. Where's this define vars directive they're talking about? Duh. I didn't look closely enough. All right. Define vars equals interpolate skill color. All right. And we come up to style. Define. I want to make sure I nail the syntax on this. So I'm going to pull this off to my other monitor so that I'm not flipping back and forth because I can't hold those types of details in brain and type and talk all at the same time. And it's stack item color. Poppity pop. There are no quotation marks around that. I'm really curious to see where this is going. That feels weird. Like we're going to end up with a really, really long parameter list, or we're going to have to collapse it into a JSON object and use dot notation to traverse the different styling properties. But let's see if I finally got it right. And I still haven't got it right. That's okay. What is going on? Let's make sure the variable names all align. Okay. Let's see what's what here. It still isn't working right. Style define colon vars equals brace brace stack item color brace brace dot stack item color var open parens dash dash variable name close parens semicolon. Did I goof something up? Const stack item color equals red. Let's save. There we go. All right, I think my mistake was that after I got the syntax right, I didn't save the source file. And so it didn't go through the hot reload fun and do the thing. I'm going to take this back to black. Because all of these crazy colors and stuff like that are making me bonkers. All right, update your existing style tag below to first define, then use this variable inside the double curly braces. And we have tested. I don't know if I'm necessarily in love with how that works. Font weight text case. Oh, now that's neat. I like that idea. But you see here, you got to define it up in the front matter. You got to add it to the variables that your style tag accepts. And then apply it down here. I can see how it's trying to move the actual variables and their values up out of your style tag, but the fact that it's all happening at the page scope instead of the site scope is kind of troubling to me at this point. So like the try it yourself exercise that they have here, you'll see that it expands skill color, font weight, text case. Let's go ahead and just do that real quick. So that's a comma separated list of variables that we are accepting in our style. Font weight, text case, and I'm going to come up here, rename symbol to that, because as you see here, I'm making all of my page level variables, or all the variables that apply at the page scope, I'm giving them an underscore just to mimic the C# coding standard that I prefer to use, that says anything that's defined at your class level or is global to the class should be identified with either M underscore or just an underscore. I've fallen into that habit. It's a pattern I've used for as long as I've been writing .NET code. Font weight equals bold. Let's go ahead and do that. And const text case equals all uppercase. Okay, I don't know the CSS value for that. To the Google machine. Apple T, CSS, attribute, and value to make text uppercase. Text transform with the value of uppercase. Okay, let's take a look in here. Text transform uppercase. Cool. Okay. Pop back here. Pull this over here. Uppercase. Come down here. Text transform. Var underscore text case, and we'll apply this here. Var dash underscore font weight. Do I have everything right? I hope so. And we'll pull this over here. And I am going to reveal it now so that you all see it at the same time as I do. Okay, our font weight looks right. Our text color does not. Stack item color is good. Oh, black. Let's turn it red again, just for contrast. Font weight, we're good. And text transform var text case. Did I do the CSS right? Probably not, because it's not all uppercase. Text dash transform. Okay. Let's do it this way. First we'll copy it. And then we'll do this in here. Oh, I know exactly what I got wrong. There we go. All right. And let's come back over here. Oh, that's ugly. I don't like you. Oh, that's hard to read. Let's get rid of that. Let's bring this back to black. Let's just completely delete that shout case. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Get rid of that. Save. And there we go. All right. And I want to get rid of that purple. Let's lose that. call the var function dash stack item color. Save that. And there we go. All right. So we haven't really applied any really awesome styling or typography or blocking or anything like that, like positioning and so on. But what we've learned here is that we can build the basic concepts of our styles. We can inject these property values What is going on here? This feels a little funny. That feels really funny. I want to get rid of this stack item color colon thing. Save that. That feels like we were naming that parameter, and I don't want to necessarily do that just now. Okay, we're still good. Let's make it hideous for a second, just to test that the variable still works. We're good. Underscore. Code a little, test a little. Always, always, always. There we go. Okay, that's all working now. And we'll turn this back to black. There. Make sure it applied. Excellent. Okay, so what we've done here today, and I'm about to wrap things up. I've got about 10 minutes left in the stream. Is we have explored the idea of setting up page level values for our for some of the elements of our styling that need to be variable, that we want to affect across the presentation of our page. Down here, we've defined the styles that apply to the H1 element type. So if I start adding more level 1 headers throughout that page, we're going to get this styling applied. And any element that has been assigned the class stack item will receive these stylings. So these tags here could almost be described as constructors for people that are familiar with object-oriented languages. The define vars, this is almost like dependency injection. And we're applying these injected values in our various style constructors. And then when we're doing an element like this, we're doing an override or an inherit. Basically, we're outright replacing the values for all instances of those page elements. And these classes are more like implementing an interface, where we're defining the interface, we're injecting the values from outside, and then we're applying that interface to the HTML element that we want to have that, or that we want to expose that presentation behavior on. Neat. This is actually new ways of thinking about this stuff for me. I still don't like that we're operating at the page level scope for our styles. I want to be able to assign these globally to the entire site so that I don't have to go in and modify eventually dozens of pages every time I want to change a style. That feels silly. It goes against the idea of CSS, where you would define everything in a central document, reference that all over, and then override as you drill into specificity. But it's a tutorial. We're going through it, and I'm sure we're going to get to a place where we're abstracting these values and probably even these styles out into a more global format. And then we'll be able to just reference them, kind of like using statements at the top of a C# file or global usings if you use those. And if you do use those, please stop. Get rid of the implicit usings. It's not helping you. And it makes it way, way harder to understand the dependencies of your code file when all of the using statements for that code file are hidden off somewhere in your project properties. It feels more convenient, and it can be more convenient. It gets you straight to the code after fewer lines of stuff. But when you got to come back to that C# code file in 6 months, and you're wondering where a particular object is being brought into your class from, it's really difficult to just quickly at a glance go up to your usings and see what dependencies are actually active in that file. So sorry about the diversion into C# world. It was a point that I felt needed to be made. We will eventually, I'm sure, get to abstracting stuff like this, our navigation module, all of those things out into shared components or more easily managed modules as we work through our tutorial. Let's flip back over to the browser real quick. Home. Articles, we haven't got those. About me. Okay, this is starting to say stuff that I want it to say. I want to just very quickly H2, where else am I? Let's go there. And we'll go UL. And LI. I stream the construction of this site. And later, once that's done, we'll get into more C# developer architecture content. BR/ you can follow me at a href equals ps twitch.tv that developer dad target equals underscore blank twitch.tv / that dad li. You can find me on LinkedIn at br/ a href equals https://linkedin.com/in/create target equals blank. LinkedIn.com/in Creedy. And spelled that wrong. href. Let's save it. And we'll test it real quick. Okay, good. That's loading, and I'm going to close it before the stream loads because otherwise my screen share will turn into this infinity mess and it'll drive your eyes crazy. And we'll just click that, and here is my LinkedIn page. Boom. Cool. So we've done quite a bit this morning. We've got 2 minutes left. We are going to added some, worked through the page styling part of the Astro tutorial, added a bit of real content to the about page. We are going to commit. We are going to sync. Do it. Yes, I still don't have a rule on the main branch of my GitHub repository for this site that forbids me from committing directly to main. While we're developing, that GitHub repository is private, so I don't feel too bad about not having set up that branch policy yet. Once the website is basically complete, I will apply a branch policy that'll require me to do all of my work on feature or bug fix branches. That's just good process. But again, this process of me going through building the site and everything like that is my content right now. And I'm actually kind of happy about that. Let's pop up to GitHub real quick and make sure that my CI/CD pipeline is running. And it is running. You can see my commit message right here. That's great. Build and deploy job. It looks like it just finished. So hooray for that. Let's go visit the actual website. And we hope that I didn't blow it up. Here we go. Let's take a look. Articles. Yep, that looks like it did this morning. And we have all of this stuff. And that's fantastic. All right. It is 11 o'clock on the dot. About 10 minutes ago, for some crazy reason, it's probably because I've had too much coffee this morning, I started getting an ocular migraine, which is just lovely. That's why my number of mistypes started to explode about 10 minutes ago. So I'm going to go eat some Tylenol and lie down a little bit. And if I get through some of my more administrative, real life chore things, because I do need to start, or I do need to apply for a handful of jobs this week. Money is important. If I am able to, I will get back on this afternoon and we'll continue working through this. So, Casos, thanks for joining. Your questions were valuable, and I appreciated being able to answer those for you. And thanks again for that chat where I realized that my process is my content right now. That was a very powerful insight you led me to. So thank you so much for reaching out and having that conversation with me. And I'll post on LinkedIn a time that I intend to start streaming next. I'll also go into Twitch TV and actually schedule the next stream once I know when that is going to happen. It'll hopefully be sometime this afternoon. So take care, everybody. Happy coding, and please remember to be kind to each other and yourselves. This is all a process. We're learning together. Take care.